Hello there, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is ChitChad, and real quick before we get today's episode started, I just wanted to let you know that I have uploaded a new episode over on my main channel where I show the process of building the Waluigi animation that we used for the Wario themed arcade. So if you want to check that out, I will leave a link down in the description below. I'll also leave a link at the end of this video. So with all that being said, let's start today's episode. Alrighty, so for today's episode, we are going to be working on the Luigi's Mansion area of the Super Mario theme park here in Planet Coaster. And today's episode, we're going to be working on the second interior, because this is the Turduncan of dark rides, because there's the exterior mansion that you walk into, go through the queue, you get on the ride, and then the ride starts in outside, quotation marks, outside, even though it's still in a dark ride setting, and then you go into the mansion once again. So this episode, we're going to be working on new scenes in Luigi's Mansion and really changing things up from that first room all the way to this part of the ride when you start your ascent, the staircase, and get greeted by the spider, which I'm probably also going to be changing to make the spider look more accurate to the one that you see in Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. And a lot of things have changed for my ideas for this ride narratively. One of the things that I think needed to be addressed right out the gates is that why is Luigi in this mansion? And it's to save Mario. So we're going to have Mario kind of be the focus for Luigi's reasonings for being. He's going to go save his brother. So that already sets up the narrative of the ride. You know why he's there. You know what's at stake. And I think that was really important to kind of set up. And especially because I've gone back and watched a lot of cutscenes from Luigi's Mansion. And I kind of my excitement for this ride has been renewed. Because recently Nintendo announced that there is going to be a third Luigi's Mansion, which I am absolutely just super excited for. And I can't wait. I'm so glad that I got a Nintendo Switch. So many wonderful games are coming out on it. Of course, Smash Brothers. We're going to get a new Animal Crossing, which I am so gosh darn pumped for. I love Animal Crossing. I played that game, played all of them. The most recent one on the DS, on the 3DS, was a time sink for sure. I had multiple accounts in the game so that I could have multiple texture files, because you can only have so many custom textures, and each character gets their own set of custom texture slots. So I literally had one character that was dedicated to creating ground textures that I placed all along the path, or I created my own path essentially with textures. And then of course I had another character that was just for like clothing or custom clothing and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. I'm really excited. But Luigi's Mansion, man, I made the mistake on the last Nintendo Direct. I thought that there was a Luigi's Mansion reveal, but it was Luigi getting killed, quote unquote killed, being turned into a ghost by the Grim Reaper, essentially. And I was just like, oh, is this a Luigi's Mansion reveal? But it was a Smash Brothers thing. And then it turns out, oh, well, maybe that was just kind of the ploy to get us all talking, because, oh, here we are. Now there's a Luigi's Mansion game. So I'm really excited for it. I could gush about that all day long. But for this ride, I thought, again, it was really important to set things up. So, and I just want to say, really inspired by Chance, Luigi's Mansion ride. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. There's some really cool effects in that ride, and it's really inspired me to kind of up my game on this ride. And there's an element to it that she added where I believe it was a spotlight or a searchlight that was used to kind of emulate Luigi's flashlight. And I thought that was just such a wonderful idea. I wanted to try and make something similar to that. So I just wanted to give credit where credit's due, that idea was entirely inspired by Chance work. And again, if you haven't seen it, definitely go check that channel out. There's some amazing Planet Coaster content on there. And I just wanted to give that shout out because, yeah, just great stuff. And like I said, I just really wanted to jump back into Luigi's Mansion and really make it more special than it was prior, because I really wasn't happy with that first room. It was very awkward in how the track layout was, and it really didn't set anything up. So as soon as you enter Luigi's Mansion in this new iteration of the first room, you're going to be surrounded by these knights, and there's going to be windows, and it's going to be storming outside, and we're going to utilize some custom animation to really sell that. And I had this idea in my head that as you're slowly going down this hallway that's so dark, and there's not a lot of detail until you start getting closer to objects, that you will eventually see Mario inside of this painting. Mario's gonna tap on the painting like he does in the game, like, help me, get me out of here. And then as soon as you approach it, lightning is gonna like just envelop the room. This bright light's gonna envelop the room, and then you just see kind of this foreboding shadow of the King Boo character, the evil King Boo character, kind of like engulf the Mario painting and then disappear. And then from there, it's going to be a couple of wacky, interactions between some of the lesser scary ghosts. And at some point, I would also like to implement the ghost dog. I forget what the ghost dog's name is. Oh, that's going to bother me. I'll look it up later. But yeah, the Luigi, I forgot. I was so silly. I completely forgot about the ghost dog. He's adorable. I've got to incorporate that because the end credits of, I think, Dark Moon had like a bunch of like little takes of that dog character, and that it eventually followed Luigi home, which I thought was absolutely stinking adorable. So I think I also saw that dog's going to be in the next one, which I'm really excited for. And I apologize. I genuinely can't remember the name of that character, but I'll look it up so I remember for the next time, or someone can let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, as you can see, I'm setting up the screens. There's a lot that we're going to set up in today's episode that isn't going to be kind of completed or completely thought out until the next one. Just because I ended up recording a very long time building all this out, longer than most of my recording sessions for Planet Coaster. But that's a good thing, because that just means I was like really into building this out and like thinking this through and trying to make this a more cohesive narrative and experience, and also kind of roll back on some of the ideas for the custom animations, because yeah, we're definitely going to have a lot of custom animations, but make it to the point where I can realistically finish it and have characters in a lot of still poses without a lot of like expressive animation. And maybe if I do have time, I'll go back in and add that, obviously, because I love to animate, and the more character I can get out of them, the better. But for like things like Mario being stuck in the painting, there's only so much you can do. He's going to pound on the painting like, let me out, but it's not like he's jumping up and down and freaking out or anything like that, because I don't want it to be super over the top. But the second room after this one is going to be the dining room, where we're going to be building a table and chairs, and we're going to utilize another screen where I'm going to I'll probably take pictures of things inside a Planet Coaster, or just paint them myself, like candelabras or plates and stuff like that, and just kind of have them floating in place, and maybe have like two ghosts kind of like floating, and maybe having like a food fight or doing something wacky. I want to just basically create 3 or 4 ghost characters, the kind of the brute one. I think there was like a red one, a blue one, and a green one, and then of course the classic Boo, and then King Boo, but he's his own character essentially. But like just kind of reuse those characters and have them just doing kind of fun and wacky things, and not have this ride be overly scary. And I think right now, especially with the spider that we're utilizing in the staircase, it's a little overly scary. So I think it'd be more fun to kind of use that spider as a reference, but then try and rebuild the cartoony spider that we see in the Luigi's Mansion 3DS game. It's going to be really fun in the next episode. Like I said, we're going to be creating some custom animation inside of After Effects to create the lightning effect. And I did also get some questions as to why, and I did explain this in the previous video, so maybe people were just kind of skipping around, but just to kind of reiterate, the reason I created kind of this giant wall around the ride, basically encapsulating it in a ground, or encapsulating it underground, is just so that there's no chance that any light's getting through. Because even when you turn, the ride to nighttime, there's still ambient light sources that are getting through, whether it's in the environment or light in general. And it also makes the lights inside of the ride just super more either like vibrant, and the colors a bit more saturated. And I did some tests too, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing that just for no reason at all. So I opened up a hole inside the ground plane and just took a look at things to see if there was any light getting in. And there's still some, especially when you look at the atmospheric effects like the fog or the rain and the clouds. if it's just turned to night, you can see a little hint of light, like it's the smoke effect especially is a little bit lighter. So I think just doing this allows you to just get just a hint more darkness, just so that the lights that we do have are really shining through. And right now, like when I keep turning on and off the light source inside of Planet Coaster, which I didn't know this until earlier, I think in the last episode is when I discovered it. There's a light that you can turn off and on in Planet Coaster. I believe it's L is the quick key that turns off and on the flashlight. Super freaking helpful. But every time I switch it to like night mode and then finally kind of see this more kind of moody, atmospheric nature, I'm just like, oh, I'm so happy we changed things up. It looks so much more like I don't know, to like a theme park, you know, like a quality dark ride, and just having this setup, this narrative setup, I think is going to be a much stronger experience, and it definitely gets me more excited to continue to work on the project. So it's kind of a win-win at this point. So I hope you all are excited for it, as I am, because I think this is going to be really, really fun. So right now we're working on the dining table, and again, this is going to be me trying to figure out a way to set this up so that as far as depth is concerned, it's going to look like the characters are really interacting with this environment, even though they're going to be a screen. You know, I don't want to pull a Universal and just rely on screens, but until we are able to link objects, custom objects, to like animators, you know, and animators being like, you know, things that would make them rotate or turn or, you know, move from side to side or something, I'm going to rely on screens and animation to kind of fill in those gaps. But that's where the fun for me comes in, because I love to animate. So I think this would actually be a good time to look at some questions on the Discord. That's right, I've got a Discord. There's a link down in the description below if you would like to join the Discord. I've got channels for art, animation, gaming, and of course Planet Coaster, and I answer some questions, or at least I try to answer some questions every episode. So I'm going to try and answer some of them right now. So we've got one from The Spot. Hey, ChitChad, I've been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 for the past couple of years, and I was wondering if getting Planet Coaster was a super good idea if I've just been playing that for a long time. I know this isn't specifically park related, but I just wanted to know. Yeah, absolutely. I love Planet Coaster. It's really, really, really fun. It's definitely a time sink, so be prepared for that. But, you know, playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 can also be a huge time sink. It's just, this allows for so much freedom and expression, and basically if you can think it, you can build it in this game, and I think that's why there's such a strong creative community behind it, and I think that's just awesome. And if that's something like I mean, you probably have seen multiple channels that just have content like this, and if there's anything there that you're like, oh, I would love to build something like that or something similar, or my own idea, then absolutely check out Planet Coaster. I think it goes on sale pretty frequently. I pre-ordered it way back when, so I could get the alpha or beta or whatever it was at the time. But I think, you know, it's probably going to go on sale again at some point, and probably the DLC will go on sale at some point. And I would say out of all the DLC, the Studios pack is probably my favorite. So that's just my recommendation. Definitely check out, there's plenty of videos that show everything off that are in those packs, but, you know, definitely get the game. Totally recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And I think this is a game that's going to have a longevity. You know, it's going to constantly get new DLC. It's going to always have support from the community. Because if you think you're playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, that game still has so much love and support and such a huge community behind it. So, you know, these games have longevity. These games have a community that's going to stick around for a while. And I would say for the most part, it's a pretty cool community. You know, you get those, you do get, you know, the occasional kind of a bummer situation with, you know, people that might take things too seriously, but that's in every, you know, fandom, passion, you know, that's just everywhere. But for the most part, I think this is an awesome community with a lot of awesome creators. You know, I just talked about one earlier, and, you know, I've got some friends that I know that I actually meet in real life that play this game, you know, and they make a lot of really cool stuff, and it's fun, you know, it's a really fun thing, especially that we can share creations. You know, you can go on the workshop, you can go on what's called the workshop, I am the Swedish chef. You can go on the workshop and get inspiration there as well. It's fun, so I definitely recommend it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there was one here. I can't remember if I answered this one yet or not, but this was in my animation ask form, but it was more related to Planet Coaster, so I'll just answer it here. Hey Hey ChitChad, this is a Planet Coaster and animation suggestion, but if you could please answer it in a Planet Coaster video, you should do safety videos for rides with a Toad character explaining how to enter the ride or exit the ride safely. Yeah, that would actually be really, really fun. And I definitely want to incorporate some voice acting into the park and these rides in general. So I'm going to definitely be like playing Luigi during this ride. And I think having those kind of screens would be really, really fun. Basically what I'm thinking is I'll make like one video that's a ride explanation of, how to, enter and exit the vehicle, like I think I'll make like one base video and basically change the character out that's like the main character. So for each ride, it's a little bit different. So maybe for like the Yoshi roller coaster, it would be Toad. And maybe for this one, it would be the professor or something like that. So yeah, absolutely fantastic idea. And I think it'd be really fun to implement. So yeah, definitely. The other ones are related to... there's some other questions, but those are related to the Chatterbox Studio, which that's also another project that I'm working on. It's a more community-driven park. We're actually currently ending our very first contest for that park, which I'm really excited about because there's some really cool entries. So if you want to also check out that, feel free. I've got video playlists on my channel. It's basically it's this series and it's that series are the two main Planet Coaster content on the channel. And yeah, I think that wraps it up for the questions. So like I said, if you want to ask questions, whether it's about art animation up from my main channel or Planet Coaster content on this channel, check out the Discord. There's a lot of awesome people on there. So jumping back to Luigi's Mansion, we are getting closer to the end of today's video, but you're gonna see me start basically spacing things out, working in the trigger menu to get some of these effects going, which we will embellish further on the next video, which I am super excited for. That'll be coming out very soon. Very, very soon. I know I kind of took a break this week. Just a lot of stuff was going on in my personal life, and I was feeling a little brain fried. But I'm back, and there'll be new episodes this following week. So look out for those. Chatterbox Studios, of course, the Mario Park. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I released a new animation video of the Waluigi piece that we did for the Wario Arcade. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'll leave a link down in the description below. There will also be a link to it at the end of this video, so feel free to check that out. Like always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and as always, I will chat with you on the next video.